Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to start off. Let's have a look at what the market is giving us, and then we can go from there. All right. So I'm going to hit record. Let's crack on. I've given you all enough time, so it should be on. Okay, guys. So welcome to our live analysis session. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of August. All right. So let's have a look at what we have going on in the market. So I'm going to start off from where we left off last time, which was to look at pound USD. So pound USD again, guys. The market structure that we have right now, we were expecting the market to clarify this bullish structure that we've had here. We've had this market structure break already. All right, so here we go. We've had this market structure break here already. All we're really looking for right now is for us to clarify for a bullish movement later on, okay? Leading off of the analysis from yesterday. So we can see that the market is making its way on the downside here. I'm hoping that the price will give us some sort of pullback. At the moment, my target for looking for a sell will be somewhere around this region right here. At the moment, the price is descending on the short side. Now, how far it's going to go would be the question. On the hourly today, we haven't had that much activity on the price. Really, the price hasn't done, much. I've seen the price has gone for the low here, and I'm expecting the price action to continue pushing towards the short, possibly. Now, there is a shorter market structure break of the bearish movement we had here from the morning. Not the most significant, but there is a structure break here. So we might see some bullish activity from today. My only problem with why I believe the price will probably trend lower is that, from this time frame, the nearest demand zone is all the way at 1.38237. So I don't expect this to continue really. If it does give us a bullish movement, it would be. I wouldn't be completely surprised, but it wouldn't be the norm, I don't think. There's not enough demand. And on the H4 here, same kind of scenario here. We don't really have much demand. You could pull off across the supply zone here, which the price is kind of headed into, but the reaction isn't that great. If you look at the H4 supply price, when inside of this area, we had a bit of a long, but we was immediately greeted with a very strong short. So I don't think this is a very strong area for zone flipping, as we'll call it, for the price to flip from supply to demand. You know what? There is a possibility maybe the price could still go long, don't get me wrong, from here, but it's not the strongest of areas, I would say. So possibly the price may push a bit low. There is a nice big demand zone here on the H4 right here. The price is not so far away from it. That could be an area the price could dip into. So we could see some action there, then the price could go low. We'll have to be able to wait. We have to wait a little bit for us to be able to kind of go through that. So I'm watching carefully to see how the price fares out, and then we can, grab some good trades from there so that we can make our assumptions as to what's going on. All right, so let's have a look at the market and see what's happening here. I'm going to pull up there we go. I'm going to pull up Euro USD. So Euro USD has been very strongly short. And as I said, I expect it to continue. As you can see now, the price is really starting to power down on the short side. This demand zone looks like it's about to be compromised very soon. And just yesterday, it was already somewhere in here, but now it's starting to look quite strong on the bearish side. And it doesn't look like the market is given a chance for anything else. So if anything, we should be looking for a continuation sell. This sell was quite a strong one, and I expect it to continue. From the H4, again, we're not making any moves just yet. I already told you what really we're looking for. With Euro USD, the first real target will be back down here. Now, the pip distance isn't that large. From my calculations, it's about 70 pips from the current price. Yeah, closer to 80. Okay. So it's not that far, but again, whenever I was looking at, for those of you who were doing the analysis with me on Euro USD a while back, if I carry on this rectangle here, so if I drag this right along here, I expect the price to return back to this area of supply. This area of supply is a very significant one. We had the coronavirus period here, which we had the very strong short that occurred. We had the price return back to here. Now, when we had the first short and the price return here, you can see from the return, or if you want to call it a rejection, the pullback that we had from the price returning here for a second time, we didn't have that much strong bearish pressure. So immediately after that, the price broke past here. And this is during the period of time when the European Union announced the stimulus package that they've created for the Europe. Okay, and is keeping the interest rates at 0% also. So that combination of events allowed for the price to produce opportunity for us to see a very strong long on the euro. Now, I do believe that the price is making its way back down here, and I do expect the price to specifically come back into demand. So the demand that was created for the price to push long, I'm expecting the price to go back there. So I am looking for a strong short coming out of Euro USD very soon. But again, I want to see how the price breaks beneath this area. And we're so close to it that I do think that we could see a movement. Now, the high of the day, I'm going to keep it in mind just in case the price comes back to it tomorrow and gives us a better entry. But the high of the day is right here. And there's a supply zone right above it on the H1. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled and see what happens with this. But this does look like a promising short that we could take. I mean, when the price got into this area and we see that it pushed into this strong area of demand and kind of spiked around here for a while and then started to short, I think it tells us everything we need to know. So I think Euro USD definitely is on the course down for what we want, which is the short. And again, the first target would be really here. Second target, the wider one, would be back down here, which I think is very much so on the way. Especially with what we have with the US dollar tapering, I do think that the price doesn't have much chance, especially the euro doesn't have much chance to resist this movement on the dollar. Okay, so USD Japanese yen. So what's happened since yesterday? So USD Japanese yen actually did go long. So did USD CHF in the same manner. The supply was here. So at the beginning of the week, the price spiked into here and used this as a launching pad to continue. And now the targets all above here definitely will be run. So I'm expecting to see more bullish action on the dollar. And at this point, we're more in a continuation phase than a reversal phase. I believe that the trends that we saw last week, for now anyway, there is going to be a great continuation of these trends here. And I expect them to continue making its way up. So the best thing we can do now in a phase like this, because if all major pairs or real major pairs are paired to the US dollar, when I see the prices in continuation like this, I like to look at crosses sometimes just to pick up on, potentially what we could find for ourselves, maybe some activities to help us. The best way I could put it, activities of analysis that can help us to find something that may be in a reversal in between what's going on with the continuation. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but I always try to find some. Okay, so for me, looking at what we have here with AUD USD is going to be our next movement here. AUD USD is pushing its way short. I do believe that most of these pairs are experiencing the real strength of the US dollar. So I'm going to move over to crosses now. I'm going to look at opportunities and see what's happening. Now, Euro GBP was always going to make its way short. I mean, we did the analysis from it from the D1 perspective. I gave out this trade a long time ago. We had a beautiful area of demand here that the price used as a very good supply zone area. And this was the zone right here. All right. This was it. We saw this movement here. Price, it took a very long time. There was a lot of accumulation of the trend. It was still a downward trend, but a very rangy one. Then we had the price come back here a second time to supply, and we've seen a very strong short. Now it was a bit of a strange one from a lower time frame to get into, but it was still a really good trade nonetheless. So I'm gonna go to CAD Japanese yen. Let's have a look at what's going on here from the daily. I'm gonna start from the H1 here and see what's going on. So you see with some of these other crosses here, they may not be completely in continuation. Some of them will be, some others won't be. For example, pound Swiss franc is definitely showing bullish signs here. Let's look at the rest here. Euro Swiss. So the Swiss franc is losing strength across all the boards from what we can see here. I'm just going to scan through these to see if there isn't anything, then we can stick to what we have. All right. So Euro JPY looks like it's shown a nice reversal signature, and I think it's following through what we've seen on Euro USD here. And the price is pushing up now. From what I can see here, the price has already taken off. It is a bit messy from the 5-minute, but nonetheless, I mean, it's still a good trade if it does come back. If it was to give us a chance to get into this, I would wait for a pullback somewhere here. And then after I'll be into this, I think from the 30-minute, probably the safest place we can go for. So I'm going to start from here and I'm going to look for probably a trade like this and I'll be making my way down. And my targets will be quite similar. I think the next easiest target to go for would be beneath this low right here that we've had in March 2021. The next major demand zone area is also there too. So from the daily perspective, the next demand zone is here. And I do expect the price to make its way down to about this point right here, at least. Okay, if not lower. But for definite, I do see Euro Japanese yen making its way short also. And so I'll be expecting to see, I'm going to keep my eyes on this. If it does give us a pullback, then I would like to take this trade. Stop loss doesn't have to be that wide. Stop loss can be above here, 4 pips. Maximum pips is 10 in this trade, so it's not so bad at all. But between 5 to 10 pips for a stop loss will be quite good, and we could take advantage of the the movement on the way down. All right, pound Japanese yen. Not much activity like that. We've had a good long though. Yesterday provided a good long here, and now the price is following that long scenario. What I'll do, let's move to AUD CHF. So a lot of the Swiss franc pairs are showing very strong signs of weakness across all boards. You can see Euro CHF is pushing long, Pound USD is pushing very strongly long, Australian dollar, Swiss franc is pushing strongly long. Bearing in mind that the Australian dollar is not quite moderately weak right now on other currency pairs. Okay, Swiss franc Japanese yen definitely would have been going short and looks really nice. Really good trade entry was around these areas here at the beginning of the month. Now we're getting towards mid-month. Price is going short, so I expect it to continue. All right, let's have a look and see what else is available. Okay. So Euro NZD. Okay. Let's see this. All right. So I think for me, most pairs that are paired with the euro, depending on the direction, if the euro is the quote, most likely we'll be seeing a short. I think the euro is weakening quite strongly here. And I'm going for the New Zealand dollar here too, Japanese yen. So NZD JPY possibly might have actually a really nice trade that we can grab. Let me just double check where the price has actually derived itself from. So let's start off on the weekly here. Here's the main weekly demand for the year. All right, so the price has just missed it. So we should really be looking for a short more than a long, because there's an inefficiency here that needs to be filled out. We need the price to get back into this area right here. All right, so we could work backwards a little bit. Let's have a look and see what's going on. And let's see what we can grab from here. So NZD Japanese yen. All right, we're in the daily now. So this spike here, price has gone long. Okay, cool. H4. All right, so on the H4 here, we have a mixture of, so last week we had a reversal here, which was a very nice one. And the price pushed up further for a long, which is expected. Now it looks as though we're right around about this range right here with the highs that we have. Okay. So there is a potential short here. I would have liked to see a reversal signature triggered from, weekly highs or something. But for now, it looks as though we don't have that just as of yet, but we have a daily version of it. We have a daily version of reversal kind of action here. So if the price is to return back to this area, it'll be worth taking a short. So a return back into this area and a stop loss above the wicks. Let's see how much the stop loss will be. So stop loss is way too wide. So, I mean, we don't need all of this width, but I'm just always measuring to see. I think we can squeeze in 7.4 here. Let's just double check. And at best, if the price pushes a little bit higher, maybe we might want to put this about roughly around about 14. And the targets would be on the short side towards a return right here to this area about 74,686. looks around roughly around about here would be good, or a little bit higher, 74,934. Yeah, I think this as a trade wouldn't be bad at all. So I'm going to look into the advanced correlations of this later on and check the strengths of the currencies individually so that we can see where the price is trying to derive itself from. But I'm not going to completely jump into this because, again, at the moment, the price is working from a very good long scenario, which is here. We have this H4 demand zone here. There we go. Here's the H4 demand zone that we have. And the price is working from this H4 demand. And at the moment, the daily movement reversal is from this area right here. But potentially this might be the stronger direction and the price may even return a little bit higher. So I'll keep my eyes peeled. But NZD Japanese yen is looking good so far. Let's see this. All right, so in a moment like this where most things are in continuation, of course, we'll be looking for continuations. But I'm just going to try to look at it. Now, we had a massive crash in silver, and I expect it to continue. It's not done. We just need to find our way to get our entry into this movement here. And the price will give us a chance to do so very soon. So with silver, we have a very beautiful area that I've been watching for a very long time. It's right here. This area is one of the most important demand caps for me in the commodity space at the moment. And this price range is between 22 to 23, 22.5 cents to 23 cents. If you round it near to the nearest, we're about 23 dollars. Sorry, not 23 cents, $23. So $22.5 to $23, this range here. Now, for me, all I'm looking for really is just a break beneath here. As soon as it happens, we have a free fall that we can get back into the teens. So 19, 18. And I expect the price to really give us a very nice and swift rally down to this next point right here. So right now, with what we had here with silver is only the beginning, and also with gold, I'm expecting to see this movement happen. Now, there may be some pullbacks, but all I'm waiting for really is here. So I'm setting my alarm already for here, and I'll be looking to take advantage of this silver movement. In fact, I wouldn't even try to risk it too much. I probably would close my first target out literally here, at the base of this bullish movement here. And then after, if the price does more, then we could probably go for it. But definitely I'll set my targets literally for the first range of teens, the higher up teens, so 19,400. And this will be a good enough movement already to make some real good profit on. So I'm keeping my eyes on this for silver. So if you are following, keep your eyes on this movement for silver. This is one good move that we could really see some great potential on. Let me just pull up. I have so many charts open at the same time. I have to delete some. And let's look at gold as well also. So gold has started off with an absolutely crazy, massive movement down. And I only expect that to continue. Gold still has more targets to fill out. As I said with gold, the price action, we were expecting it to hit the target. It did use this daily area as a flip zone here to go short, and it's played out very well. So I do expect gold to continue going short. I'm hoping to see some sort of reversal here. It doesn't look like the price is going to give much of it, but if I was to use the H1 here, if the price came back to this supply zone area here, this would have been a great trade already to go for. Something where the price just returns one more time back up here. This will be a great trade to continue this movement short, and we could see some really good, clean price action from here. So I'm going to leave this right here, and I'm expecting to see the movement of gold, continue to drop. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled on this. This is a very easy way that the market could do what it's doing. Now, let's put this here. With my targets for gold on the short side, I've already explained with what we're seeing on gold, this is just part of what we see when inflation is increased, okay? The Federal Reserve throws its weight around, and then this causes, other effects on gold. Now, even though the US dollar has gained strength considerably, the amount of strength that is exercised against gold is a bit unnatural, and there is always going to be that way because gold is always one of the biggest fears for every central bank, because we all know that currency, okay, constantly devalues because it can be created. There's no maximum supply. Whereas with silver and gold, there is a maximum supply that, especially with gold, there is a possible, well, a very good idea of how much gold exists. So we can actually have a limited supply, which causes there to be a limited supply, allows for scarcity, which allows for there to be, added value to the currency, into the money. Gold is money, guys. Currency is a representation of money. So anyway, in a situation when inflation is getting high and every central bank, due to the coronavirus, has to change their stripes and start to print out more money, one of the things that will always happen is that central banks will always try to discourage against gold investors by doing that, by crashing the price, which is the easiest thing. Now, the Federal Reserve has kicked it off, and other central banks, I believe, have followed, and they're dumping on their balance sheets the number of gold they own, or so that the supply will increase and push the price down, because we've had a crazy drop, and I don't think it's done. I do think that looking at the price structure, gold will probably get down to 1,500 and even lower before it rises again, which is fine. If that's going to happen, then it gives us more of a chance for buying and investing, but I am expecting the price to give us something along the lines of this. Okay, so this is, let's put this here. I'm going to go down to daily and then to the H4. And I'm just going to be observing gold to see what it's done, because this movement here that we have is so massive. I do expect to see more and more changes to the price as time goes on. But we'll be expecting, I'm expecting a lot from gold, and we'll see how, things turn out before we make our assumptions. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at what we have on the rest of the crosses here. All right. Now, usually I trade on Wednesdays mainly, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because I like to, wait for midweek when the market is the most liquid. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are my favorite trading days. Fridays are good too. They've been good quite a few times. But, ideally, I like to, go for the midweeks, All right, so let's put this here. All right, so I'm going to go through the indices and see what we can grab. Now, most indices, because of inflation, will be on the up. All right, every single one of them. Let's see what we can grab from here. Now, we had a very strong spike here in the price on the Japanese 225 or Nikkei 225. Interestingly, we would like to see if this correlates with anywhere else. Not really, but again, I'm more bullish on all of these indices and indexes. It's just a matter of which one is going to provide us the cleanest entry. I've personally been staying away from these because the wickage we're seeing on the price, for me, I think is very, very dirty and very, very crazy. So I prefer not to get involved with it. I do love wicks. Wicks don't lie. Wicks tell the truth all the time about what market manipulation is going on. But even then, if I can stay away from a pair that has, unusually too many regular wickages on it, if that's even grammatically correct, then I'd rather stay away. So I'm gonna skip this. Let's have a look at some commodities and look at oil. All right, oil also took a massive drop, and I don't think it's done. I do think it's going to continue. At the moment, I wouldn't be trying to get myself in gold, so I think we'll skip over this. Now, I always like to scan, guys, before I leave. I mean, for now, I'm not really seeing trades that I like. The market's not really doing what I would say is something that I can go and take as a trade. I mean, there are continuations available here. You could probably ride the wave too. But I'm going to allow the continuations to play out possibly for one more day. If there's possibly a scalp this afternoon, yeah, then maybe I'll go for it. But in a time like this, I like to be an observer as well. Sometimes observing for me is the best. I like the opportunity to just observe the market, because I don't feel pressure when I trade anyway, but it takes the mental edge off of having to try and look for a trade. If you get what I mean, it just allows you to relax and just look at the market and take it for what it is. Observe what's going on. Usually that's the time I pick up on new things or changes in the market that are important, things like that. But these reversals so far have been great. And if the continuations are going to last for longer, then it would be wise to just go for it. The only trade really, as I said, I'm seeing again I'm watching how the price is behaving here with euro, Japanese yen, and I'm hoping to see if the price will give us a return. It looks like it's pulling back. If it does pull back, then this will be a very nice and simple trade that we can take. I mean, it looks like we have this structure of the bearish line. If you want to use this, it has been broken here. So we are good for the price to return. I'll put the 30-minute zone here again. Something around here as a pullback isn't so bad. Euro Japanese yen from here will give us a good sell, I believe, and then we can ride the rest of the wave down. So this is good for me as a trade, probably the only one I'll take. Okay, based on what we have going on with the euro anyway, fundamentally, I do think that the euro is going to show signs of weakness, and euro USD is already leading the way. So this will be a great one to follow. So let's just pull this up here. Really got to delete my charts. There's so many charts here. Probably have over 40 in one. I've never had so many before. I think I just been so busy. I haven't had the time to delete some of them. So, all right. So let's scan through one more time. Let's look and see what's going on. AUD CHF, AUD CAD. Okay. Swiss franc Japanese yen. Okay. Euro NZD. Now I keep coming back to Euro NZD because I just feel like there's, even though I know that there should be a short, my mind keeps telling me that there might be a long. But when I look at the structure from here, I know the price is going to go short. So maybe I'm just having a bit of analysis paralysis with this. So I'm going to leave it alone. If this does go long, it's not my fault, guys. Sometimes your mind tells you stuff. Possibly it's maybe a short-term one with this, but yeah, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to force it. Because if I force it, that's what happens when how to lose money. Just force a trade, guys, and you learn a quick lesson about how to lose money in the market. It's the easiest way to learn that lesson. Try to force a trade. All right, so let's look at some of the exotics now. Now, the only exotics really I trade are US dollar Mexican because it does have some nice movement, and also US dollar South African rand. Also, the US dollar Israeli shekel, ILS means Israeli shekel, sometimes has some really nice movements as well. Hasn't been doing too much for me anyway, but it does have some nice movements sometimes. So I wouldn't ignore if I see something good on here. Now, it's not the most liquid pair, as you can see, compared to others, but it does have some good movements at sometimes. US dollar Mexican, I really like it too. It's quite a nice pair. It does have some nice movements as well on it. The moment looks, I guess, just pretty normal. Nothing more than probably most likely a continuation as well. So I'll leave that alone. And US dollar South African rand as well. Same kind of situation. All right. So let's see what else. Again, one more time, we'll scan through. All right. I guess with stuff like Euro 50, I think it's quite an obvious long. I do like the Euro 50 a little bit more because, as you can see, the spiking is not as much. It's quite stable. The price action movements are a lot smaller though. The range of price movement day by day is a lot smaller, but the spiking is a lot less, you know. But the German NASDAQ, especially the NASDAQ's crazy sometimes. Okay. But I would say the German NASDAQ, Japanese 225, S&P 500 is not so bad, to be fair, to trade. US 30, because it's very common. I mean, it does have some price action movements that can be killers in a good way sometimes. I see one right now, right here. It was a fantastic trade there. Wish I saw that. All right. I think the UK 100 for me is probably the worst. It spikes the most. It's the most manipulative one. So I think I'll stay away from it. All right. We've scanned through oil already. We know what we want to do with silver and gold. We're just allowing the price to have freedom to do what it needs to do. Okay. At the moment, it's all in the same direction. Pounds at NZD. Okay. Pounds showing weakness against the New Zealand dollar. Okay. Interesting. Pound CAD showing weakness too. Okay. Euro CAD, which is one of my, I like Euro CAD a lot. I'm very bearish on the Euro versus Canadian dollar over the long term. Now, it's a bit hard to see here, but on IC markets, there is a liquidity gap that hasn't been filled for about 11 years, you know, between this range of about 1.25 somewhere here. Now, looking at the structure from here, here's the A swing and here's the B. We've just had the C and now the price is approaching, moving towards the C. So I'm hoping to see literally from a C to D movement in the years to come. I believe it's going to be a fantastic trade, especially I know that the Canadian dollar will gain strength over time even more. Being an oil commodity currency or attached to oil, I do expect it to go for sure. My only problem with EuroCAD is that the price action is just really messy to me, but it's still nonetheless quite good as a long-term swing. Okay, let's look at Euro AUD. Yeah, Euro AUD is definitely pushing short there. It will be a bad idea to try to, especially because the New Zealand dollar is showing quite strong signs, even against things like the CAD. That Euro NZD trade that I was looking at right here, I'm sure it's going to end up being a short, so I'm not going to get involved with it. Okay, so yeah, that's it, guys. I think right now, Euro Japanese yen is the only one that's presenting an opportunity that we'll probably be able to take in a moment. And I think that's really about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Take care, YouTube family. Take care, everyone, students, and catch you guys tomorrow.